Hi, everyone. We'll be starting shortly. We're just letting everyone gather. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us for our session on maximizing Google Smart Shopping campaigns. I have to say that I'm Sharon Goldstein, the CEO of LimeSpot. I have to say that this is a year in the making. We've been working with Google in partnership to get our product live for you, and we're excited to bring it to market. And we're thrilled that it's performing for brands like Baltic, and we'll talk a little bit about that towards the latter half of our session. With that, I'm going to have each of the panelists or speakers today introduce themselves, and then we'll hop into the content.
Hi everyone, I'm Adam Sparrow in the partnership team at Google. I work on a team that focuses on building shopping partnerships with companies like LimeSpot.
Hi everyone, my name is Karis Fisher. I'm a partner manager at Google, and I work with platform and e-commerce partners, helping bring some of our ad solutions to small and medium-sized businesses.
Hi everyone, my name is Angela Lillienquist, and I am one of the co-owners of Baltic.
Okay, thanks. Just a quick overview of what we'll be covering today. Karis is going to take us through holiday 2020 insights and how to think about the holiday season. Adam will cover Google Shopping best practices. We'll do an overview of the new LimeSpot ads product and how it will improve your performance on Google Smart Shopping and soon to be Google Shopping. And then Angela and I will talk about her experiences overall with acquisition and with Google Shopping. We'll talk about how to get started, and we'll open it up for Q&A. With that, I'm going to hand off to Karis.
Great, thanks, Sharon. And first of all, I know life is really busy for everyone, especially retailers during this time of the year. So I wanted to thank everyone for taking time out of your busy day to join us. We're really excited to share some insights with you on this 2020 holiday season. But before jumping into that, I did want to recognize, of course, our partnership with LimeSpot. We've been working very closely over the past year, and in many ways, this webinar is kind of a culmination of our efforts, and it's exciting because it marks the launch of their Google Smart Shopping campaigns integration. So we're really excited about that. So I want you to take a moment and think back to this time last year when life was very different. Last year, retail actually had its largest holiday season ever in terms of retail online sales. Fast forward to today, and earlier this year rather, and it almost became 2030 overnight. And this is a quote from the former CPO at Shopify. And I think this resonates probably with a lot of us. We have seen such a massive acceleration of digitization, and things that we were anticipating as being important in the next decade became very important basically overnight. And we see this in the data. We're seeing countries kind of double their online retail sales. And more than ever, shoppers are turning online to browse, to explore, to research, and to buy, which is creating an opportunity for retailers to be discovered, to grow their e-commerce offering, as well as to help shoppers find the information and the products that they need. And this has forced all of us, when we pause and we look through a business lens, to revisit our playbooks, to rework our strategies, re-envision products, as well as delivery methods. It's been a catalyst for so much change. So I think it's clear to all of us that this season will be truly unlike any other. And I did want to share with you kind of 3 key trends, what to expect this holiday season. First, we're seeing a dramatic shift to digital across many categories, not just a few. Our research shows that almost 75% of US shoppers who plan to shop this holiday season said they will shop online more than previous years. And as we're looking at what's occurring in the world in different cities, as we're pausing or perhaps even reversing some of our reopening plans, shoppers are starting to revert back to the safety of online shopping. There's also a growing appetite for discovering new brands. With more shoppers solving for their gifting needs online, we're seeing an openness and an even outright search for new brands. Over 30% of shoppers have purchased a brand that is new to them during COVID-19, and many people are browsing for new online ideas. So as an example, searches for online clothing stores have grown globally by over 100% year over year. We're also seeing an influx of digital newcomers. And to gain new customers, retailers should first ensure that you have a strong online presence. You want to make sure that you're showing up and you're there when consumers are searching for you and your products. Second, you want to be assistive to the best degree that you can. Make sure that you're providing important information that you know shoppers are going to be looking for. So details on your return policy, shipping costs, shipping time, things like that. We find that consumers can be very fickle, especially in the online world where it's a lot easier and there's a lot less friction to leave an online store than an offline. And finally, last but not least, people are shopping earlier than ever. Shoppers are worried about supply chain delays and they're making purchases early to avoid disappointment. And if you're worried by that statement, I would say don't be. It's not too late to capitalize on this demand, but time is of the essence. Be ready for a month-long Cyber Monday. So on the next slide, I did want to share a couple of free tools that we have to help you prepare for the holiday season. So first, this is a brand new tool that we have called Grow My Store, and it's essentially a health check for your retail site. So when you navigate to the page, you're able to enter the URL of your store, and the tool will look at things like page load speed, the checkout procedure, delivery information, and customer service chat options, essentially a bunch of indicators that are important to shoppers. It also will compare to other websites in the same category as you, so we'll get some benchmarking data, as well as recommendations for improvement. And on the next slide, we also have a tool, or it's rather a portal, a hub. It includes a lot of information. It's called our Shopping Insights Hub. And you can use this to monitor consumer trends as well as track evolving needs, which is particularly helpful during peak seasons where we're seeing a lot of traffic volume. It's a great tool to give you almost real-time insight in terms of search trend data, and you can identify seasonal spikes, compare the popularity of different products and brands within your category, as well as get new product ideas based on popularity. So with that, I'll pass it over to Adam.
Hello. So I'm here to cover smart shopping campaigns and what they are, what they do. Before I go into that, I just wanted to cover something else that you will get with the when you opt into shopping. So this was announced in in sort of June, July this year, but it's called Services Across Google. And what this is essentially is a non-ads product, a free listings product for shopping across Google properties. So on the left here, you've got Google search, where we're starting to use product data in the text listings in the organic results. So we're pulling things like ratings, price, whether or not a product's in stock, and then we're also enabling shopping listings for free on the shopping tab. So it's not on the google.com tab. It's the little shopping tab here. So we'll still have ads at the top, but below there's also unpaid listings. And by default, when you are creating a shopping campaign, you will also be opted in to unpaid listings, and they'll stay if you're not advertising as well. So that was the first thing I just wanted to let you all know about. On to smart shopping campaigns. So smart shopping campaigns are really useful because they're one campaign that lets your product show across all of the Google properties. So you can advertise to customers wherever they're comfortable. We have multiple different formats in there from your feed. So if they're in Gmail, they're getting an ad in the right format for them there. And with some of the smart bidding, we'll also make sure that the ads are showing to customers at the right time when they have a lot of intent and they're ready to buy. So if you go on to the next slide, please. So the real key with smart shopping campaigns is the smart part. Whereas with other campaigns, you'll be doing bids manually or using other bidding products. Smart Campaigns does all of that for you. So the aim here is to have the right bid for the right product for the right users at the right time across every single auction, and it does all of that automatically using Google AI. And from a user perspective, it's like a lot simpler because there's one feed, one campaign, and your ads show across the board. All you need to do is give it a daily spend and then a goal to optimize towards. So by default, it will optimize to maximize online sales. And then there's the option to give it a new customer acquisition target, which is quite new. And not quite in the LimeSpot tool yet, because we're not supporting that in the API. But then the main one here is return on ad spend. So if you want to get a 3-to-1 return, you just tell it that, and it will automatically optimize your bids and your products to hit that goal. On to the next slide, please. And then unlike shopping campaigns, these ads do show across all of Google properties. So it is on search in the shopping ads at the top there. It's in Google Display Ads, and this also uses remarketing to do that. It's on YouTube, so remarketing there, as well as some contextual stuff, and on Gmail. So historically, you would have had to set up at least 4 campaigns to do this, but now one campaign it appears across all of these Google networks. On to the next one. And then on the performance, so versus standard shopping campaigns, smart shopping campaigns tend to have a 30% increase in conversion value, when compared against standard shopping. And then over the holiday period of the last, this is from last year or the year before, the performance is 30% higher on top of that. And so, the reason for that is because our smart bidding has been, bidding over Black Friday and that weekend for several years now. So it's learned that that's a big period, and it knows to kind of optimize bids and all of that kind of stuff. You'll still need to, adjust your budgets over the Black Friday weekend to make sure you're keeping up with the increased demand. But in terms of bidding and conversion rate changes, the campaign has learned that and will optimize for that. So on to the next one, please. So my top tips here for driving a successful holiday season. So using smart shopping campaigns throughout the whole season, really does work and improves performance. They work best when they've got a lot of data. So the longer you leave it running, the more data it has. It can learn and generate more sales for you. As well, in that vein, starting early and adjusting the budgets and targets accordingly is really important. So the sooner you can get these running and get the campaigns learning, the better, because like I said, it's got more data to work with. And one call out here is just be really careful, especially at the beginning, on changing the targets too much, because it needs to learn, and if you're changing the target too regularly, it will just start learning again. Once it's a bit more established, that doesn't happen, but in the first month or so, that tends to happen. So adjust the budget, definitely set a target and keep it that way, and it will optimize for that. And the final one, which is the hardest in some ways, is making sure that your feed's in great health. The ads only perform as well as the data that's inside them. But this one you actually don't need to worry about. The LimeSpot tool that we've developed creates the feed for you and does optimize it. So you won't need to do anything there for that. It's all being taken care of in the background. And that's there we go. And then the final thing here, just just to cover is for Google Shopping. There's a few things that are required for a smart campaign. So you need a merchant center feed that's approved. You need to track conversion value, have various marketing assets. And then we highly recommend making sure your site is tagged fully, so you can appear on all the remarketing ads. You've got all the right custom parameters in there to allow you to, target different products differently. You want to have as much conversion data as possible, and have an active remarketing tag with at least 100 users. And the good news is that sort of everything here, LimeSpot does for you. So the site gets tagged, the conversion tracking will be added automatically if it's not there already. You just need to worry about setting the right budget for you, and also giving it a ROAS target if that's something you want to do.
Great. Thanks, Adam. Really appreciate the tee up there, as well as the information for brands on how to be successful with Google Smart Shopping. So really quickly, before we jump into the Google product, because we have a variety of people on the call today, I wanted to give just a high-level overview of LimeSpot, what we do, and how we approach the market. So we think about powering your growth through AI. That is our bread and butter. We have an industry-leading AI, and what we do differently than a lot of the other products out there is that we create a co-op of data. So every time we learn something on any brand site, that is information that feeds into our data. As a result, we have billions of signals, and the goal is for you to have the same value and efficacy of your recommendations as you would have if you were listing on Amazon, Walmart, Alibaba with that data set. So that's really where we started with product recommendations. In the last year, we've moved to be a platform across acquisition, which is what we're talking about today, conversion and optimization, so that all of your merchandising decisions can be driven via AI. We have a couple things on here that even our existing customers may not know about. Obviously, LimeSpot Ads, which we have started rolling out. We have about 20 customers on it, and it's general availability now. So we'll be onboarding everyone else, and as well as segmented experiences. So this will be coming later this year. But the way to think about this is, if right now you're doing recommendations on just at the product level in boxes that are saying you might like or trending, this is the opportunity to take real-time segmentation that's also driven through our system and optimize and personalize 100% of your website real estate. So stay tuned for more information on that. That's just a little bit about us. With that, let's go back to Google. So one of the reasons why LimeSpot and Google have been working on this for a year is that Google Shopping is a very powerful acquisition tool for you, right? We think about direct to consumer, and really you're picking up consumers through 3 channels. If you're not, on one of the marketplaces, one is through search. So this is Google. One is through social media, and one is through email, right? So this is, one of your 3 pillars, and a really powerful way to drive traffic and acquisition. But there are a couple of challenges when you're a smaller retailer. The first one is meeting the Google requirements for listing. And we'll go a little deeper on this on a subsequent slide. But if you haven't listed yet on Google, when you first send your product catalog to Google, there's a 3 to 5 day cycle in which validation is done. And typically small retailers, especially in Shopify, as well as we see this on BigCommerce, will get a large percentage of their products sent back for additional detail. So if you think about that cycle, you're basically putting your products in your submitting your products into the system, waiting 3 to 5 days, getting back feedback, making adjustments, resubmitting. And that's, you know, that has been a barrier to entry and a barrier to keeping things optimized. The second is having enough detail for discovery. What gets pulled in automatically is what's in your product title, some of what's in the description. But when you think about what you want to show your products to show up every single time anyone gets anywhere near that search category, and you may be, you know, your product may be right for them. So this is, you know, a piece that if you don't have it, you could get your discovery, you could get your products into the system, but not be surfacing as many times as you'd like to be. And then the third is return on ad spend. And this is just, you know, the better, this is all about the data. The better data you have, the better job that the Google system can do in identifying who to target, both from a product attribute perspective and an audience perspective, so that this is an efficient enough channel for you that it makes sense to put a high spend behind it and use it to as a primary model to get traffic to your site. So a little bit about how our product works. You can think about it in 3 components. The first one is taking all the AI data from your catalog, from our understanding of consumers and who buys what products, and pulling all that information in as a sync and continuing to keep your entire catalog updated. The second piece is the validation and fixing piece. And this is about that pain point around having, you know, submitting to Google and then making sure that your products are ready to be there and available for discovery. And then the third piece is optimizing your campaigns with this data, right? And what you can think about here is that you've got your product data. We also have audience data based on both, you know, what our system knows, but also on your website. So if you're running personalizer on your site, then we understand who's coming to it, what kind of customer that is, and for demographics and psychographics, that data is automatically passed to Google, both for smart shopping campaigns, and then, you know, soon to follow for shopping campaigns, where it'll be, you know, a little more at the exposure for, you know, levers, should you want to be doing that level of campaigns. And those 2 sets of data, as you'll see, drive a significant difference in what the outcome is. And so these 3 things, you know, obviously these are things that every retailer is trying to do: saving time, increasing discoverability, and being efficient in your conversion. So just quickly how the product works. The first thing you do is set it up. You're creating or connecting to a Google Merchant Center and an ad account. Basically, there's 2 ways to think about doing this. One is if you already have a Merchant Center account, to start, you could, through our system, you can create a second account on a subdomain URL, and that will allow you to keep your existing campaigns running while you are waiting for Google to validate and learn around your new product feed. So that gives you the opportunity both to, you know, A/B test and also understand that. Otherwise, you create your first Merchant Center account, and that's where our feed will exist. We then auto-populate that system so that when you get to here, you have all of your products in the system. So what you'll see here is we have 3 categories. We have items with success, we have items with errors, and we have warnings. The reason you see 0 on the success number here is because a majority of the catalogs that we see do not have GTINs on them. And this is an item that Google requests, at least as optional. It's not something you would create. It either, you know, is available or is not available to map into the categories that and subcategories that are in the system. And so so you'll see in here that products will say that they're missing GTINs, and that is something that we allow you to bulk ignore, so that you don't have to worry about going in and accepting, you know, the change on every single item. And in fact, everything in here gives you the opportunity to hit fix, select everything that has that same issue, make an update to it. So for example, in product types with Baltic born, they might all be dresses. So you can select all 7 of those items, you know, pull down that it's a dress, and then it is in the system. So, and to give you an idea, we are seeing a 98% acceptance rate. So we submit this into Google, and almost all your products get accepted. So we feel like that's an enormous time savings for brands. The next thing we do is data enrichment. So you can see here, and you know, I want to thank Angela for letting us use her actual, you know, site in sharing out this information. Our AI is pulling text, image, and doing predictive attributes. So instead of your product just saying the Abigail champagne sparkling gown in medium, you know, we know that this is a maxi dress. We pull in that it's hand washed. We know all the sizes it comes in. We know who it's targeted towards gender-wise and age-wise. And so that information is all available to get passed to Google. It's also exposed to you if you want to see it and edit it in any way. And the impact you'll see, I mean, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this slide, but you can see that there's, you know, this is the window of time in which we were ramping up. And then you can see the spike around when these products were available, both on surface and in paid campaigns. And you can see that there's an enormous difference in what's available. And you can also see that the performance paid was a new campaign, unpaid, you can see it's continuing to drive up. So let's look at what the real impact is at the consumer level. So, you know, here we went in, I was so excited to see this 2 days ago, but we went in and searched for the same product, the champagne sparkling gown in medium, which, you know, I might be looking for as a consumer. And you can see that this has shown up here in the organic listing and the surface listing. And you can also see, because Baltic Board is running ads against it, that it has shown up in the top of the carousel. Now, so what you're getting here is you're getting really targeted impressions. I mean, I fit the demographic, so it made sense that these came up. You're getting increased visibility because there's a higher quality of data getting passed through. You're also getting higher SEO ranking. Adam was talking about the SEO impact of this. So this data is also populating and supporting SEO optimization, although we're not showing that here. And then the most important piece, I think, once you're in there, is this idea of filter inclusion, right? A consumer comes in, they're looking at the page, they may be looking, you know, deeper, they want their size, they want, or they are saying, hey, I'm looking at a bunch of champagne dresses. And because of the richness of attributes that are getting passed through, you have the data to feed this filtering system on the left-hand side, and therefore you are going to continue to show as the customer's search is getting more granular. So just, you know, putting your money where your mouth is, this is an actual campaign that Baltic Born's been running at $50 a day. You can see here the sales that are coming through that campaign. And when you do the calculation on the ROAS, this is 15.6x. It's also a fairly new campaign. So we are seeing in some of our other campaigns even higher numbers than that. So with that, I am going to move over to a conversation with Angela, and we can talk, and so I'll pull down the slides, and then any questions that you have about the LimeSpot components we'll cover in Q&A. Okay, so perfect. Hi, Angela.
Hi, Sharon. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you for being here. I'm excited to talk about your beautiful products. So tell me a little bit about Baltic Born's origin story.
Sure, yeah. So it's actually myself and two of my sisters, which you don't hear about often, families working together. But the three of us, we just had this idea, and about 4 years ago, 2016 is when we started. And we had this idea of, creating this brand. We have retail in, like our grandpa and our dad worked in retail, and we just were drawn to it, especially with the e-commerce. So the e-commerce, the social media, and the fashion was like a perfect marriage for the three of us sisters. So we started this little site, and we started our Instagram, and we weren't doing any advertising and we were just buying from LA Fashion District, really. And it was, it was just a hobby. It was fun. And soon we found our customer. We learned her, we shaped her, we learned more and more about her and what she wanted and what her needs were. And soon we really had our target customer, and we were able to provide products and dresses that she wanted and needed.
Oh,
So I will add too, we were running our business out of my parents' basement for 2 years. now we are in a warehouse, and we have about 40% of our products at a fulfillment center. So it's really exciting.
That's fantastic. And where are you based?
So we're based in Utah.
Okay. Got it. So how, you said you really got to know who your customer is. How do you think about acquiring her, where to find her, where do you spend your efforts? And also, are you doing anything different this holiday season?
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question. I think as far as acquiring customers, having our brand story on our social media, Instagram and Facebook is really important in that, but also having these ads and visibility, as you were saying, in Google and Facebook and everywhere, so that you can find that customer and bring her in and acquire her through your brand story. Also when we started designing our own dresses and our own pieces, that really acquired her, because now word of mouth, photographers, bridal parties are all speaking to each other and seeing on that social media and the reviews on Google. That really brings the customer back and more customers. And as far as holiday, like Kara said, it's a totally different game in 2020. Holiday is going to be different for everyone. I think we're all expecting that, and we kind of don't know what to expect. But because we are more on the affordable occasion wear side, and we don't know if holiday occasions are happening, we were a little nervous, but we have found that we're so excited to be able to offer affordable occasion wear, because these smaller weddings that are happening and these smaller parties and gatherings that are happening, our brand is perfect for that, because they can come and not have to spend, an arm and a leg to get something beautiful, but they can find the perfect piece at a good price point and be able to feel and look amazing.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like you're really well set up for the holiday season. So were you using Google shopping or smart shopping prior to coming on board with LimeSpot ads? And if not, or why or why not, I guess.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, we were not using shopping apps. We started using LimeSpot about just over a year ago with your carousels on our site, and that changed our business. It really did. The recently viewed product carousel, the trending, the new arrivals, it would add like $20,000 a day, which was huge for us in sales as a small business. We were like, oh my gosh, really exciting. So then we started Facebook advertising and Google search ads, but we were not doing the shopping, the smart campaigns. And honestly, we just didn't have the bandwidth as a small business. We had no idea where to start. We did not know, like, the GTINs were like, what's that? And so it wasn't even on our radar until LimeSpot came with this new product.
Well, great. That's certainly a great advertisement for us. I appreciate that. So what's been your experience both with Google Shopping and with LimeSpot
Sure.
now that you're live?
Sure. Okay. So I will start with the quick and easy setup that LimeSpot provided for our Google Ads. Like, again, as I said, as a small business, we don't have a huge workforce. We don't have a ton of bandwidth. I mean, we're still receiving boxes, like pulling them off the truck. It takes a lot for us to sit down and come up with these campaigns. And so when LimeSpot came and said, hey, we have this product, it will automate everything, it was like a no-brainer. And automation is huge for me. Like, that's one of the most important things in business, is learning to automate processes and things. And this has been such a quick and easy setup, especially getting the right product in front of the right customer at the right time. Like you said, that is incredible. And then the higher visibility, that's also really big, because as you know, we don't want to spend $10,000 a day on advertising trying to reach those right people. We really need something that can, get there without that high cost because of the small business that we are. And we have seen amazing results from that.
That's great. So tell us about what happened when you went live.
Okay, this is one of my favorite stories of our entire business history. So it was a weekend. We had set it up with the LimeSpot team, and it went live on a Saturday. And I still remember exactly where I was. And our sales shot through the roof that day. I honestly, I didn't know it had gone live because it was a Saturday, so we weren't communicating with the LimeSpot team. But we had our highest day ever in the history. And then the next day we had another high day. And then the third day, fourth day, fifth day, we had our 5 highest sales days ever. And we basically sold out of everything. So on the 6th day, our sales went back down because we had literally sold out of everything and we didn't have the product, but our messages and our customer service emails shot up. When is this coming back in stock? When will you have these dresses restocked? And we were like, okay, we are in, this is it's a game changer, and we kind of had to pivot and re-strategize, but it was a very, very exciting week.
Oh, that is great to hear. Is there anything else that that other brands should know as they think about this or think about their advertising strategies?
Sure. Yeah. Something that I've learned, especially as I've taken over our Facebook ads and we've started an affiliate program. And like you said, the email, it is so important to diversify advertising in this day and age. You never know what's going to happen with the Facebook channel or the social media, it's so important to have Google everywhere. You have to be everywhere in this day and age. You really do. And you have to have a presence everywhere. It helps with your credibility. It helps with your sales. It helps with everything. And we knew that we needed to get into Google. We just hadn't. And so this really was especially in time for the holiday, we're just so happy that we are there, and we had LimeSpot to help us get there. And then another thing is, as we've started to design and sell our own designs and products, that will set us apart through the Google advertising. And I just feel, I don't know, I'm very excited because I feel like all of the stars have aligned for us, and LimeSpot has been a huge role in that. And just helping our site and our advertising. So
wonderful. Thanks for joining us today, and congratulations on your success.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, so with that, we're going to get ready for Q&A. So if you have anything, please drop it into the channels, and we will talk about getting started. Before we do that, Adam is just going to go through and talk about some common reasons for disapproval, so that because we know that that's a question a lot of people are curious about.
Great, thanks, Sharon. So this list here is probably the top 6 reasons that sites get disapproved for shopping ads. So just want to clarify, there are site-wide policies, which we'll cover here, and then there are individual product policies, such as missing information and so on, which we won't cover. So the top three here: return policy, billing terms, and contact information, probably the three most common disapprovals that we see. And this is usually something that happens when you set up a brand new Merchant Center account. So what you need to have on your site is a return policy. It just needs to be visible to the user before they check out, and that's all. So as long as it's clear, you'll be good. The other thing, similar to the return policy, what your billing terms and conditions are, things like, do you accept returns, all of that kind of stuff. And again, it has to be visible before the checkout. And then the, can you go back one? There we go. And then the other thing you need to provide is at least two types of contact information. So a business address, phone number, or an email address. You can't use a contact form. You need to have two of those three things above. The phone number, it can be a cell phone, it can be a landline number. It doesn't matter. I know, some of you probably wouldn't want your personal cell on there. So even if it's a Google Voice number, that's fine. But it just needs to be visible on the website. Then the three below are probably less common, but still important to note. So we have some shopping policy requirements for sites. So, there are prohibited types of content that we don't allow, so dangerous counterfeit goods. And we have some restricted content. So alcohol is allowed in some cases, some healthcare products are allowed, but prescription drugs aren't, and adult content as well. There are a few other categories in there, so I'd encourage you to read that link afterwards, just to check. You also need to actually have a full checkout process. I think most of you probably will have that. So the user has to be able to, buy the product on your website. It can't be, a contact form that you email the back or anything like that. And then the checkout needs to be secure. So your checkout flow needs to be HTTPS, and there are policies in there around collection of personal data. Like I said, the bottom three are very rare for us to see problems with, but it does still happen. So make sure you're on top of these. And if you do all of that before you submit your feeds, you'll be fine. You shouldn't have any trouble getting approved.
Great. Thanks, Adam, for that. Let me just, I'm not on video. Really quickly, I want to talk about getting started, and then we've already had a couple of questions come in, so I will tee those up. So first of all, if you are an existing LimeSpot customer on the enterprise program, please reach out to your customer success manager for onboarding. For self-serve, we will be rolling this out for retailers, brands under $1 million GMV as well. If you'd like to be part of our preview cycle, please email us at support@limespot.com. If you are new to LimeSpot or want to learn more, whether you're a brand or a partner, you can see the subsequent emails here, sales@limespot.com and partners.limespot@limespot.com. So pretty much any way you reach out to us will get you to the right people, so that you can be up and running for the holiday season. So with that, I'm going to queue up a few questions for our for the panelists. So the first one, probably best suited for you, Adam, is how long does it take for my ads to start performing?
Hello. Yeah, thanks for the question. So for a smart shopping campaign, it has a 2-week learning period. So in that time, it's figuring out, what search terms work well, what products are converting well, and so on. So, leave it for 2 weeks before you start to see any performance. Usually, if you're spending more or you've got a website with a lot of traffic, you will see, strong performance, before that 2 weeks is up, if it's got enough data to work with. But even if that's the case, still leave it for 2 weeks, because sometimes it performs well at the beginning. It tries out some new stuff, performance drops, and it knows not to do that anymore, and then your performance will kind of pick up and be steadier. So that 2 weeks is the short answer to that.
Okay, great, Adam. I'm going to keep you on the spot. There's a couple others that have come in. One is, how important is it to have GTIN information?
Yes, so it is important. your products will still run if GTIN is missing. We'll just restrict the performance slightly. So it means that your visibility is likely to go down if you're missing a GTIN. So it is really worthwhile having it because your chances of being seen do go up.
Got it. Got it. And we also have a question about, oh, go ahead, Karis.
Sorry, I'll just add to that one because there's a lot of, we get a lot of questions around GTIN. And so it stands for Global Trade Identification Number. It's an acronym most people will never have heard of, but it's like a UPC, and most products will have one available. So that's what a GTIN is, just if anyone's wondering.
Got it. Thank you for clarifying that. So one more for the Google team, and then we'll jump into a couple that are for LimeSpot. So someone says that they have an existing shopping campaign with a PPC management company handling it. What is the main difference of data in smart shopping versus a standard shopping campaign?
Yeah, good question. So a standard shopping campaign only appears on Google.com and on the Google shopping property, and it works in the same sort of way in that a keyword matches up to your product. So you do get that part. The big difference is with a smart shopping campaign, as well as appearing on Google search, you'll also appear on YouTube, in Gmail ads, and across our display network. And then the other thing is that smart shopping campaigns by default have smart bidding enabled. So smart bidding looks at tons of different signals. So not just the exact keyword, the time of day, the browser that's being used, the location, the type of user, etc., to figure out if it's worth bidding more or less for that user at that second of the day. So you can get some of that with a regular shopping campaign if you enable target ROAS or target CPA. But so you can get some of that, but what you don't have is usually some of the audience data won't be used, because smart shopping campaigns also have a remarketing list attached to them for dynamic remarketing.
Got it. Thanks, Adam. So we've had a couple of versions of the same question come in for on LimeSpot, and that is what happens if I have two merchant center accounts? Why would I do that? Why would I have two feeds? So let me address this. The goal with setting up a second feed, and it's only if you already have a feed going and it is already performing, what you're doing is setting up a second feed so that it can be validated and accepted by Google, with the goal of moving your feed, being on a single feed. So the goal isn't to have two feeds, it's to have one feed going live at any time, and have, ideally all the enrichment data in it. But this allows you to not have to worry about having a window of time in which you're getting validated from Google, and which the system is, learning, which is what Adam was talking about. And you can have that kind of dual coverage in that window. And then the idea would be to shift over. Now, we do have a few people who've wanted to do, a little bit of an A/B test. So running a small campaign on the second feed, on the LimeSpot feed before switching over to see the actual performance. And that is an option. Once you have the feed and you're ready to use the LimeSpot feed, our recommendation is you move it over to your main merchant account, the one that is on your primary domain, not your subdomain, because that will also assist with the SEO. So it's at that point, when it's on the same domain that is your SEO domain, that you will be getting that additional benefit and goodness from it. Got it. I think that is the last of the questions. I guess I would open this up to the panelists and ask if they have anything that they want to add. Okay. It looks like we have covered all of our topics. If you have additional questions, please feel free to reach out to us at one of or at support is our most general email address, and we'll make sure that somebody gets back to you. I want to take a moment just to, thank the panelists for taking the time, Adam, Karis, Angela, for being a part of this, and for your time. So have a great day, everyone. Thanks again for joining.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.